Well, hello, and welcome to Opal City Confidentially Starman Podcast, episode 71, A Little TED Talk, part 1. I decided, because I had gotten behind on, we've not done a TED Night comic in a while, that I would do over the next month, in the intervals between Jack stories, I would do a little catch-up of TED. So today will be Adventure Comics 77 and 78, and in 2 weeks it will be All-Star Comics 13. So let's get started with our first comic. It is Adventure Comics 77. It was published on June 26, 1942. It was 10 cents. It's cover dated August 14th, August 1942. It was 64 pages through dime, edited by the amazing Maury Boltinoff. The name of the story is Finders Keepers. It has been reprinted 3 times. Oh, wanted? Yes, I know that because well after this, you're going to hear me and Billy talk about this because we talked about it for an upcoming World on Fire. Golden Age Starman Archives Volume 2, which is where I read it in, and DC's Wanted, the Most Dangerous Supervillains, hardcover 2020. Folks, get that. That is all 7 issues of DC's Wanted, the Most Dangerous, and it was just a bunch of, it was like secret origins for bad guys in a way. But weren't always origins. But like in that had the Mist against Starman, had the Blue Llama against Sargon the Sorcerer, and it had the Yellow Jacket. The Wasp, not the Wasp, the Wasp bad guy from 40s Wildcat. So it was very cool. So this story is written by Gardner Fox, drawn by Jack Burnley. We're getting very near the end of Jack Burnley's time. It stars Starman. We got to see Doris Lee and Woodley Allen, his FBI contact. The Mist, this is his second appearance. He last appeared in issue 67 of Adventure Comics. He will not appear again until Brave and the Bold 61. Which is one of those classic Fox, Murphy Anderson, Starman, Black Canary team-ups. And other characters are Honey Jenkins and Herbert Corwin. The synopsis is, the Mist escapes jail by using his Inviso solution on the jail cell and himself. He then enacts a plan to hypnotize people with valuable objects left in the street for them to find. Each hypnotized person then steals for the Mist. Starman learns that Honey Jenkins returned an item to the police, so he pays her a visit. The Mist also visits Honey to prevent the exposure of his plan. Starman captures some of the Mist's gang and learns the location of their hideout. He then assaults the base and captures his foe. So I really enjoyed this one. It's a Mist story, and I think it holds up. I mean, it's, as I say every time we talk about Jack Burnley, why don't I just do it? I love his art. I love his pencils. They're just stunning. The Mist, the floating head and hands is just a great look. And it's just overall really good. And when I go through the story, I'm going to talk about the cover because the Starman's not on the cover anymore, but it's a Jack Kirby Sandman cover. And it's pretty freaking cool. I will post it when I post this episode. But it's just great. It's got that splash page and then the invisible cell, which I think is a kick, but it goes, Finders Keepers. How often have you shouted the phrase as you spied a coin or a wallet on the street, and yet could have known the hideous fate that overtook all others who voiced that same cry? You would have turned and fled with the cunning Venus, of the Mist plot, the perfect crime. His planted lures entrap the unwary, but Starman pulls a string, and the Mist is again embroiled with his own old enemy. So it's just really cool. Like the invisible cell it's actually kind of cool. It's invisible, and there's a panel where the guards are standing on the floor of the invisible cell, and you see this guy in the cell below just looking up, going, "What the hell?" But it's just a well-crafted story. The art's wonderful. You get to see all the characters, the plot. There's just a scene where he's with his bad guys, and he's telling his plan, and you see it happen. And you see a couple of them, these people bringing in money. And it's a great plan. It's so low-key, because I think of the Mist as Jack's Mist in Robinson Starman. It's just very different. It's very different. He's just a petty criminal. We see them all, and the Honey Jenkins is, she's got blonde hair, 40s haircut, a big bow, and we get a cut to, and she just looks like out of Archie's comic, but it's just great. It only takes 2 pages. It's so well drawn. The characters all look different. I think that's, no one looks rushed. I think there's a lot of rushed art sometimes, but it looks great. I like that he gets. Ted has to pretend another headache and leaves. And, of course, Doris is just sick of it. But he heads off, and he catches the invisible gang at Honey's thing. It's great. I love the fight scenes in his flying. There's a Jack panel of him flying. Even I've said not Jack, Ted. I love how it looks. But it's just a really good crime drama, nice fights. With that, you see the Mist. I keep forgetting the Mist needs to be taken in a car. He doesn't float. They don't say he floats. It's like you can't see his body. It's translucent. It's kind of the thing. His hideout is a windmill with a very Art Deco interior. And Starman convinces 2 of the goons by threatening to drop them, I guess. Gives them to Chief Allen. And then he heads to the bad guy's place, and they've got machine guns at top. It looks like something from the Millennium Falcon. But Starman almost is defeated him, but he gets knocked unconscious by the windmill. It's like a Danish windmill. So there happens to be one out near the water, near Opal City. Oh, no, I'm sorry, he's at Gotham. But he gets banged in the head with it. And, of course, the Mist leaves in a deadly trap. Instead of killing him, he steals his cosmic rod, which makes him stop being shifting clouds, which allows Starman to defeat him. And he has he has some broken ribs from his fall when he got hit in the head. So Doris is nursing him back to health. It's those little zany comics. I kind of just jabbered a lot about it, but these are really good. If you can get a copy of these, or I know there are other ways to read them. I wish these were more readily available to readers. I had these 2 archives, but these archives were printed 15 years ago. And I think DC should do a little more with them. I think they should put another 1 or 2 out. It's great. We're going to move to issue 78. So, this is Adventure Comics 78, published July 24th, 1942, cover date September 1942, 10 cents, 64 pages. Murray Boltinoff is the editor. The name of the story we're looking at today is The Little Man Who Wasn't There. It's an 11-page story, features Ted Knight or 2. It's written by Alfred Bester and Jack Burnley. Alfred Bester is a famous science fiction writer, and I think he did a lot of DC comics. Did a little Legion, I'm pretty sure. I could forget, because a lot of these sci-fi guys did. This has only been reprinted once. Golden Age Starman Archives Volume 2. Again, if we're following Starman based on his chronology, this takes place between issues 44 and 47 of All-Star Comics. Of All-Star Squadron. The villains are Hartley Manners, Sonny Hall, and Van Camp. I like that. There's a kite named Mike Mullins, kind of like is the boy sidekick for him in the story. All right, so the synopsis. 3 different robberies occur in which the victims claim to have been attacked by an invisible man. Starman investigates the 3rd robbery and is attacked by 3 people wearing robes. When he attempts to pursue the crooks, a young fan named Mike Mullins impedes his progress. Despite Starman's protests, Mike tags along when he investigates the 2nd crime scene. Once again, Starman is attacked, and Mike's behavior results in them both being captured. Starman manages to escape in order to reach the final crime scene. This time, Mike helps him stop the crooks, who are revealed to be the robbery victims. Their claims of an invisible man were false. They use the story to cover up their intended insurance fraud scheme. That's a great twist on the story. I really liked it, because I thought the kid was, when I was reading it, I thought it was Mike was going to be the bad guy because of the way it was, prefaced. But it wasn't. Again, let's talk about the cover. It's another Kirby, and it's got Manhunter and Sandman and Sandy. So the Starman story has a great. The big panel is Starman battling the three people in robes, with Mike cheering him on. It says, "You can't see him, you can't feel him, you can't hear him, but he's right under your very eyes, stealing at a mile a minute. And when criminals go a-lootin', whether they're animal, vegetable, or mineral, it makes it a case for Starman. Man of mystery, follow him now on a star-spangled trail as he solves the case of the little man who wasn't there." And it's really cool because it starts with this one guy, Hartley Manos, is getting a photo portrait taking, and he starts acting all strangely like someone's attacking him, and he falls down, and bonds in his pocket are missing, and he pulls out a card. It says, "Compliments of the little man who wasn't there." Then we cut to Sony Hall, the jeweled skater, has a fit where low. She says she's attacked by someone invisible and has the same card. And as is Ted Knight. Ted Knight isn't the guy, but he is going to see someone called Van Camp who has the same thing happen, which makes Starman go a-looking. And then he is attacked by three hooded figures. He fights with them. He does a little aeroflame, swinging on a curtain, knocking down the stairs. It's some really good Jack Burnley action. And you get 2 pages of that, too. And then you see him, Mike Mullins appears. He gets in the way of Starman. And he's just like he's just like a 1940s sidekick character in a comic book. And they go to all the crime scenes, have a little adventure. I like they get frozen at the ice rink, and they get frozen in where the cold water is stored, I guess. I guess they didn't name Zamboni. I don't know what it is. And Starman breaks free. Their heads are sticking out of the ice. He blows on the ice to create some water. He gets the water in his mouth. He spits because he sees the screwdriver sitting on a rafter. It comes down, hits the weakened ice, and it gets them out. And they fly. I like it that Mike hangs onto his boot while Starman flies. They finally get to the photo studio, and the fight ensues, and that's when Mike comes to the rescue using the powder flash to start blind the eyes of the people, and Starman can save them. It was great. It's great. I think I'm going to look ahead. No, I think I have 2 more. There are 2 more Jack Burnley comics coming up. Yeah, and then we go to Emil Gershwin. I'm excited. But that's it. Those were the 2. I think the second one was a little better story. Overall, I like the Mist part. So I give it a lot of, I like the Mist one more because it's the Mist. But I think this one was a better structured story. I think it worked better. And just overall is a better story. But these are both great. So this is going to be a really short episode, like 15 minutes. I just wanted to talk about those 2 stories, get caught up. We don't have many stories left. Just this volume, but we still got to end some JSA, which will be fun. The next non-Jack episode, which will be Ted again, Ted Talk 2. I'm going to really cover Shanghai in space, and I'm also going to talk about when it was redone by Roy in All-Star Comics. So I got some homework to do. Well, that'll be fun homework. So, all right, folks. Thank you for listening. I record this on the 20th of January, Martin Luther King Day. And I thought of that man today and not other things going on in my country. But it's talking to you guys in the podcast always makes me feel better. Reading these comics makes me feel optimistic. And I just wanted to say thank you for listening. And I want to share a nice comment that came from someone who follows us before I say goodbye. All right. So these comments are old. They're from November. I'm sorry, Tom. These came from Ton Pinsonolet. I'm probably butchering your last name, so please correct me. And he sent this on November 30th. Hey, really love the podcast, man. Particularly the Fantastic Four retrospect. There's not many about the FF out there, and the few I've found basically make fun of the early Lee Kirby stuff. And while you guys acknowledge that the fact that they were writing for youngsters the first couple of years, you keep the respect there, and I really appreciate that. Thanks, and good luck in 2025. Be listening. Suggestions for the future shows are Avengers Defenders War, which I kind of covered, but maybe I will cover it as an event. Justice League 200, that's a really good idea. And any Brave and the Bold from the mid-'70s, which is all good. So I'll do a Brave and we need to do a Brave and the Bold again soon. I also told him to check out the Daring Defenders. He messaged back like saying he'll look for the Daring Defenders episodes to get to see the Defender War, but also he mentions that's not that important. And he also got back on January 1. Hey man, I was listening to the latest episode and you mentioned there are 2 podcasts. Yay, good. Please, I hope he's listening to and enjoying it. I also listened to that one. Was wondering if you ever listened to Captain America Comic Book Fans podcast. I have now. It's really good, guys. I'm jumping around in it. It's similar in format to Earth 2 in that they read through the issues and sometimes have guests to do voices. Best of all, though, they've gotten interviews with many writers and artists who've worked on Captain America over the years. I know you like Steve Englehart, so that might be one you're interested in. Episode 52 is a really great interview with Steve Englehart. The guys did a great. He also recommended the Jim Shooter, which is episode 65, Wade, episode 76, and Roy Thomas 125. So I appreciate it. Thank you, Tim, for reaching out and tell us what you like. And folks, please check out the Captain America's Comic Book Fans podcast. I've jumped around. I'm kind of listening. I'm not I can't really binge listen to a podcast right now. I'm taking a break. I'm jumping in doing onesies and twosies, but I'm not doing episode after. I'm listening to some books on tape. Right now, The Passage by Cronin. I'm forgetting his first name. I love that book. I love those trilogy of books, so I'm enjoying that. All right, folks, as always, be safe, be smart. Please be kind to one another and read some comics. Read some Starman.